Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in on this episode of Mom Mode. Today, we have Abbi Warden on the podcast, and I'm just so excited to have you here, Abbi. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I feel like it's been a long time in the making. We've been chatting since
I know.
2025, and now finally it's January. And at the time, you said, "Yeah, we'll record in January." I'm like, "Oh my God, I have so much time." And then I don't know if you felt the same way, but all of a sudden we're just like here meeting, and it feels wild.
Oh, I know. And we're almost into February. So that's what's
I
even
know.
more wild. Like, we're already a month into the year.
I know. It's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, but I'm just so excited that, that we've connected and that you're on the podcast. And for those who don't know who you are, can you just give us a little introduction into who Abby is?
Yes, I am a 30-year-old, which sounds so weird to say. I'm a 30-year-old mom to 3 kids under 2 years old. I have twin toddlers that are almost 2, and I have a 4-month-old newborn. I'm also a COO. I work for 1P Creative, and I'm doing that full time. And yeah, just whenever I have some free time, I'm also posting on social media, which is in and out, inconsistent these days.
Yeah, well, you got your hands full with
Yeah,
3
exactly.
under 2 and
Yes.
also working. So do you work full time then?
I do, yeah. My
Oh my
husband
gosh.
stays home with our kids, and
Wow.
we actually live in a basement apartment. We are saving up to buy a house, which, if anybody is in the real estate market these days, it knows how hard it is to get into the market. So we are living
Yes.
with my mother-in-law and father-in-law with our 3 kids in their basement. So,
Oh my
you know, at
goodness.
at first, I kind of felt, you're like, "Oh, I'm kind of moving back home, and now I have kids, and, like, this feels so different." But I am so grateful to live under a roof with my in-laws at this point of my life. When, like, the
Yeah.
chaos ensues, you can be like, "Go upstairs, go see Nana and Pappy's," that's what they call themselves, and the
Oh,
kids are just so excited to see them, so it provides us with a few breaks during the day. My mother-in-law comes down in the morning and helps my husband, and then usually at night, we'll try and, like, sneak upstairs just to get a different scenery and kind of, like, get out of the house in this crazy
yeah.
snow that we're having. But yeah, it's a long time coming. We're trying to save up to buy a house, and yeah, just, the real estate game.
Yeah, no, seriously, and you're in Canada, in Toronto. Like we had
Yeah,
talked about, I lived there previously for a couple years, and okay, the basement apartment is very common. I feel like
very
it's like
common.
so common. Like I knew
So
so many
common.
people that they lived with their in-laws or their in-laws lived with them. Like it's just a common thing, which
Yeah,
I loved.
yeah.
And then the real estate market in Toronto is wild. Like,
Oh,
people
boy.
talk about LA in the United States, and I'm like, it's very comparable, I would say. Like to own a house is a lot of times, like, close to $1,000,000. I
We're
mean,
looking at
or more.
townhomes for $1,000,000. Like, that's
Yes.
not even, and then you see all these things come up about, like, Texas or, like, really affordable places to live where you could spend, like, $700,000 on this, like, beautiful home, and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, $1,000,000 here will get you a townhome."
Yeah, I know, I always actually see those come up where it's like, "Look what you can get in Texas." Yeah,
Yes,
they
I
always get
know.
I know, I always see
They
those, and
always
it's
get
always
us.
Texas. I'm
I
like,
know. It's
"Hmm."
never anywhere else, always
Um,
Texas.
but that's amazing. I mean, I think, like you said, I mean, honestly, I would probably be nervous to be home working with 3 under 2, so to have their support is
Yeah,
really incredible, and it's like it's temporary, you know what you're working
totally.
towards, so, like, I mean, that's a good spot.
Totally, and you know what? You kind of like, when you think of being 30, you think of marriage and kids and a house. Like, when if you told me when I was 10 that by 30 I would be, like, living in a basement apartment, I'd be like, "Pff, no, you're supposed to have a house by that point." But it's so valuable for our kids to grow up in a house with their grandparents,
Yeah.
and my sister-in-law also lives upstairs, so it's like they just have so much family around them. And I don't know if you know this, but I used to actually live in Kelowna. I got a job back in 2020, so I moved from Toronto to Kelowna. I picked up and, like, drove
Oh,
across the
wow.
country with my mom, and we my fiancé and I lived out there for 4 years away from all of our family, and then we got pregnant, and all of a sudden, I was like, "Wait, I need to be home." Like, I was so homesick when having kids. I just wanted to be around our family, especially going through postpartum and the
Yeah.
trenches, as they call it, which I'm experiencing right now. But you just crave being around family. I don't know if that was just me, but the more help in this phase, the better. Like, you really need a village at that point.
Yeah, no, you're not alone. I definitely knew, I lived in Arizona. And then when we got engaged, my husband and I'm like, I need to be closer to family. Like as soon as
Yeah.
we start a family, like I don't know, I just needed family.
Yeah.
Um, and for their help, but also like it's weird, but like for me, like I'm like,
Yeah.
there's days where I'm just like, I'm gonna just go by my mom and dad and just take a minute to
Oh
breathe.
gosh. Yes.
Or
So
just like,
nice.
or you just sometimes this is the weirdest thing. And I think I've said this before, but being a mom and having all this responsibility, sometimes I'm like, can I be a kid again? And like, I just
Yes.
need to be almost like babied by my parents. That is the
Yes.
weirdest thing to admit. I'm 35.
No, it's not
But
weird.
I'm
I
like,
feel the same way.
I want their attention. I want to feel like the version of myself that
Yep.
without all the responsibility again. And I wouldn't trade like being a mom for the world.
No.
But it's just one of those things where I'm like, I just like, want to go by my parents and I want my mom to make me dinner and I just want to like relax and not
And you don't
have
have to make any decisions. You
yeah,
don't have your mom's there. She's gonna make all the decisions. I feel that way when my mom's around. I'm like, my brain just, like, leaves the building. It's like, "I don't
yep,
know, mom, like, what should we do?" Like, you are now the manager of this household, even though I'm the mom. Like,
exactly.
please step in
Exactly.
and make some
No, so
decisions
I
around
so
here.
get that. But okay, wait. So did you found out you were pregnant and how far is that from Toronto?
So, Kelowna, it's West Coast, so you're completely across the country.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
that's
wild. So,
very far.
it's a 5-hour flight or it's, like, 4 days in the car driving.
Wow.
Yeah,
Um
big drive.
so what did you do? Did you guys have your babies that far or did you end up moving closer once you knew you were pregnant?
No, so I had a job there. I had, like, amazing girlfriends. I loved being in Kelowna, so I really wanted to try and stick it out.
Mhm.
Being pregnant, those feelings didn't come, like, flooding in. It was only when the babies were born, and they were in the NICU for 10 days. So my mom flew out, and then my mother-in-law flew out, and they kept kind of staggering their trips, and luckily, they were able to continue flying out, and our sister-in-law my sister-in-law came, my dad ended up coming, like, I just being alone with 2 throughout the day when my fiancé was, like, working full-time, and at that time well, he had a job where he had to physically leave the house, he had to go to
Yeah.
job sites, he had to be there, so he couldn't stay home, but I would call him and just be like, "SOS, can you please come home?" And he'd, like, come and alleviate me for a little bit, but that was a rough period of time just being so far away from family. So by the time that they were 4 months old, we moved back to Ontario, and that was a tremendous trip because my fiancé and I flew out. We took a red eye with the twins because we thought, "Hopefully, they'll sleep through this red eye," which luckily they did, like, it was only 4 hours. But my father-in-law and my other mother-in-law flew out, helped us packed up our moving van, took our dog, and drove 4 days across the country in
Wow.
the moving van. So they were a godsend at that time because there wasn't a way that that was gonna work out. So it was gonna have to be somebody flies back with the kids and then somebody drives the vehicle across the
Yeah.
country. And so they were a tremendous help at that time in our lives when we, like, really needed people the most, and everyone just stepped up and was truly our village.
Yeah. It really sounds like it.
Yeah.
So with you going through the postpartum, did you was the plan with your husband working for you to be home? Or like was that kind of you had left your job to be home with the twins? Because
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
how
I
do you do it
went
with two?
oh gosh,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, I didn't really have anything to compare it to. I think that's, like luckily, how you put it, is like I
Yeah.
don't have one child to compare it to. It was just like my first experience to being a mom. But the plan was for me to take a mat leave and return to work after the mat leave, and then my partner to continue working the whole time. But then things just shifted. Like when you become a mom, you start to realize these people are so influential in your kids' lives and you just crave that connection. Like I just
Yeah.
craved my kids being around my family, and the only way for that to be possible was to move back home. And for me it was so hard because I'm a very career oriented person. I had worked so hard with this job. I moved from assistant to marketing director, and it was such a fabulous job. I loved it. um, so to make the really hard decision of everything you've worked towards in your career is now being put on hold because you're a mom, and there's nothing that can replace being a mom, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you have this like kind of identity crisis, if you will, of like,
Yeah.
this is what I was known for. This was who I was. This career was me. And
Yeah.
now this career isn't me. And I'm a mom. And not just a mom, I'm a mom. It's gonna be the best job of my whole life, the hardest job of my whole life, the cheapest job of my whole life. But it was something that I wanted to be since I was a little girl. So it was really hard to make those decisions, and then you kind of watch your fiance continue on with his day to day and going to work lunches and socializing with adults. And I was just home listening to like Purple Monkey and the Bubblegum Tree and Miss Rachel. And it was just our worlds were completely different. But obviously, he came home and he was the best dad in the whole world. But during the day, I was a bit envious of him just being able to like get out, be a normal person, and be able to socialize.
Yeah. I actually feel that. And
Yeah.
I only had one. So you had two. So you're stretched way more thin. Um, but yeah, I can definitely. So I actually left my job before I became pregnant because my husband and I, like, I was very stressed with my job and we were like, is this contributing to us not getting pregnant?
Right.
But then I was like, who am I?
Mhm.
You don't know who you are. And I could see it being even harder going from you were working while you were pregnant.
Mhm.
And yeah, and the other thing is like, I don't know, like I feel like so much with work, you don't realize the praise that you get, right? So like obviously you got promoted, so
Mhm.
you were really good at what you did. You probably got a lot of like positive feedback, people complimenting you. I don't Did you go in office as well or no? Were you remote?
A bit, yeah, yeah, in and out.
So
Hybrid.
get getting going able to being able to dress up, feel confident, have a routine, and then yeah, to become a mom then is the best thing in the world. But there is a huge identity shift. And
Yes.
I don't think that is like talked about or maybe it is, but like I didn't really talk about it with anybody.
Yeah.
I know that like my friends that had kids before me, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like I did not realize what
Oh
you
my
went
god.
through.
I feel this so heavily.
I was
Yes.
like, and I don't have many friends, but like I have one friend in particular that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she is a boss in the office and has 2 kids."
Mhm.
And I guess because she didn't really show like much like that that like she wasn't really affected. I just was like, "Oh, she's good. She's just
She's
doing it."
fine. Yeah.
But then when I became a mom, I was like, "Oh my gosh." And like I was home and then I could feel the enviousness of my husband too. My husband works from home, but, like, he was just doing his day to day, and I'm like, "You get to talk to people." Like, Sailor does not talk yet. Like, I'm looking at a baby, and I love her to death, but, like,
Yeah.
sometimes the days felt so long, and then
Yes.
sometimes they went quick. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I was, like, not getting ready and wearing oversized T-shirts, my pajama pants, looking at the mirror like, "This is it. This is what in my 20s I waited for."
Yeah.
But I always, like, think of, like, the movie, like, How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but, like, I feel like then you get into your routine and you remember who you are, and you can start to combine the life before kids, with, like, your
Yes.
confidence and who you were with being a mom, and you're like, "I got this." And, like,
Mhm.
the more you experience it and you feel more confident in motherhood, the more, like, your identity becomes grounded and,
Yes.
like, you find yourself again. I don't
Yeah.
know. if
It's
you can
it's
relate to
the
that.
weirdest thing, like, getting your pink back, as the analogy is,
Yes.
when a flamingo has her baby and she goes white instead of being pink, and then slowly but surely she becomes more vibrant pink again.
Yes.
I feel that, like, that really hits home for me because just a few days ago, or like maybe a week or so ago, I hadn't got my hair done since before my daughter was born. I hadn't got my nails done. I hadn't, I tint my eyebrows and a facial. So I started slowly but surely doing, dermaplaned my face at home. And then all of a sudden this like glow came. And then I was like, okay, what do I need to do next? I'm gonna go get my nails done. And my newborn is breastfed. The twins I exclusively pumped with, but this version is very different. She's very dependent on me, and anywhere I go has to be within relative distance. You have to feed her, pass her off, make a plan, right? You're like,
Yeah.
when is the baby going to be fed? When do I leave? When do I get ready? When do I eat? When do I work? When do I like all of these things are so calculated, right?
Yep.
And but yeah, getting your pink back, I feel like a really big feeling about that where you start to fit in your clothes again and you start to feel more like yourself. And it feels really good. I'm starting to feel a bit by bit better and better.
Yeah. With the twins, when do you feel like, so when you were going through this shift and then you moved, back home, you said they were around like 4 months old.
Mhm.
When did you feel like, well, like, what did you feel at your lowest? And then when did you feel like you were getting your pink back after having the twins?
Oh my gosh, that's a really like interesting
Loaded
question.
question.
Yeah, it's a very loaded question. Thank you. Um, I don't know if you can really relate to this, Nicole, but when you're going through the trenches, I don't think you recognize you're at your lowest. There's this trend on social media where moms are breaking down or they're having a moment. And then I think the next slide is like, anyways. And then it's just the mom continuing, like putting on that happy face and being there for their kids and being that joy and being that glue that holds everybody together. And so I don't think I really realized it, but it's a very overwhelming, lonely, and isolating time. I think, especially for me, just being in a different location than the rest of my family. And so I was at home with twins, were sleep deprived because they're bottle fed and they were preemie NICU babies. So they're wearing their owlets and everything has to be by the book. They can't, I started thinking about SIDS all the time and you're so worried about something happening to your kids at night and very unrealistic situations you create in your mind of that something's going to happen to them. And you don't really realize that that's your lowest point. And then you
Mhm.
start to feel more like yourself. And then you reflect and you think, oh my God, I didn't realize that this is what I was going through. Like for sure had postpartum anxiety, 1000%. I was like a ball of anxiety anywhere, anytime, completely stressed. I would give my fiance direction on how to hold the baby, how to feed the baby, it's like, I've got this.
Mhm.
I've been doing this with you for a while. And so it's hard to say if I know that there was a lowest point, but I think now reflecting back on how good you feel when you start to kind of get your pink back, you then realize, oh, wow, I was really going through the trenches.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head when you said, I felt like such a bad friend with the friends before me that had kids because you can assume someone's going through something or you can think about what they might be going through, but until you're actually living it yourself, you
Mhm.
don't fully understand. And I remember with my now boss and really good friend, she had a baby. This was her second. And I was like, oh, like, can I come over? She's like, for sure, come on over. Um, and I just like get in and I'm like, can I hold the baby? Can I hold her? Not like, can I do your dishes? Do you want to go shower? Like, just like
Mhm.
totally, it was like about me. I want to see the baby. I came in all fresh and probably a face full of makeup, and she's probably just like, ah, but somehow held it all together. Like, she's a boss. She's just just survives. She's just a survivor. So I couldn't even tell if she was going through it, that she was.
Yeah.
But you then realize, and I messaged her after I had the kids, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, I am sorry. I did not realize that I should have been there for you on a level that I couldn't even understand." And she was like, "Oh, don't even worry about it, like, not a big deal." But now that you're a mom, you really realize, like, when your other mom friends show up for you in a way
Mhm.
that feels very validating. You're like, "Okay, you get it. You know what I'm going through." It's absolute chaos. So, I don't know, we I went off on a tangent. Hopefully that
No,
answered
no.
your question. Oh, I get it. But back to feeling more like myself, I think it was as soon as I moved home when my mother-in-law could step in, when my sister-in-law could step in. With the twins, my sister-in-law, she lives upstairs, and she would just take my daughter and just fall that my daughter would fall asleep with her upstairs. She would have a bottle.
Oh,
I would be with my son. So it's just all hands on deck. Everybody had we had so much support and help around us. So
yeah.
it was really awesome to feel. And then I could get out and go get my hair done. And with the twins, I pumped so I could just leave milk, and they
Yep.
were also on formula. We combo fed them. But with my daughter now, I'm just exclusively breastfeeding her, and she will not take a bottle. I've tried to pump, I've tried to leave her with the bottle. She will happily wait until I get home to eat.
Yeah. Wow, really? She
Y
waits?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So it's very
Yeah,
different, the experience, like,
very different.
and one's not easier than the other, it's just different.
No, 100%.
Do you think, so were the twins a little more like you can hand off your daughter or hand off your son and they were fine? And now with
Yes.
your daughter, she just wants to be with
Yes,
you.
it's been so hard, and also because my fiancé is the one that's taking care of the twins more,
Yep.
because she's exclusively breastfed. So anytime she needs to sleep or eat, or I'm the one that's vanishing off. I'm going in the room. I'm either coming in here to work, or I'm coming in here to put my daughter to sleep, or because I also co-sleep with her, which if you had told me when I was pregnant with the twins that I would be co-sleeping with my 3rd child, I would have told you you're absolutely crazy. I would never do that. I would never, ever, ever do that. And now that I'm working and breastfeeding, I kicked my husband out of this bed, so he sleeps on the couch, and I sleep with her, and I just feed her on demand, and I get to wake up in the morning and actually have a good sleep, whereas with the twins, we would have to wake them up, we'd have to bottle feed them, we'd have to burp them. It would be a whole hour and a half, 2-hour spiel, whereas now I just roll over, feed her, burp her, put her back down, and she's, like, happy as a clam.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I didn't do that. Well, my daughter just when in the beginning, I kind of did like honestly like breastfed and pumped, I guess.
Yeah.
Um and I mean, she started sleeping through the night at 4 months.
Oh,
Did
wow.
not like we didn't really think anything of it. We kind of were just, she slept in a bassinet and then I was like, I feel like she's ready to transition into her crib. We did that, and then we were getting, like, long stretches, and we were like, "Wow," like, we didn't even really mean for that to happen, um,
Amazing.
which was amazing, but then at that point, it was like, okay, I started pumping in the middle of the night because I
Yes.
needed to I'm like,
Yes.
"Okay, I'm so engorged, I need this," but she was sleeping,
Yeah.
um, but, yeah, we definitely I did, like, a bunch of combo, and then we added formula in at, like, 9 months, but I never co-slept, but I wasn't opposed to it either. It was just that
Mhm.
she kinda liked her bed,
Oh,
and
it's
so we
perfect.
just had her in there.
Yeah.
I would love for her to nap with me, but she won't. She just still
No,
wants her crib, even at almost 2.5 years old. She's like, when she was ready for bed, she just wants her bed.
that's
Um,
amazing.
but when so not to transition away from
Mm.
this postpartum, I wanna come back to this postpartum, but when you were pregnant or when you had the twins, when did you get pregnant with your 3rd?
They were 11 months old when
Okay.
I found out I was pregnant, and so I'm an only child. I have a half brother from my mom remarried, my stepdad 24 years ago, but they had my brother when I was 10, so I always wanted a big family, though. As an only child, my parents were divorced, and I just always wanted a big family. I thought that was the greatest gift you could give a child is siblings. And so my fiance is one of 3. He has 2 older sisters, he's the youngest, and he came from a bigger family. So he was the one that was like, we were very aligned. We were like, we wanna have a big family, probably 4 kids, and we want them all to be close in age. I didn't really plan it out. It wasn't like they're gonna be a year and a half apart, but
Mhm.
they literally are a year and a half apart. So my twins will turn 2 in March, and she will be 6 months when they turn 2. So they're gonna
Wow.
be in a grade apart at school, which I think is amazing. They'll probably be called triplets at some point because they'll all eventually look like they're the same age.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't really the plan, but we knew we wanted to have kids kind of close in age. So we just went with whatever was going to happen.
Yeah. So were you trying when you got pregnant? Or I guess just kind of
Yeah.
like, no, like
Not like
trying without trying.
exactly. It wasn't like
If it happens,
rigid schedule, but it was like, yeah, like if it happens now, the twins were at a really good spot where again, they were starting to sleep like longer throughout the night. Um, I didn't really think of it too in depth. Now I'm like, oh yeah, 3 under 2 is a lot. But at the moment we were like, oh, this is feeling good. Let's add some more chaos to the mix.
well, you know what? I feel like it's like you might feel like it's chaotic now, but you're going to get to a point where it's just going to be like, this is great. Like they're all going to
Yes.
play so well together.
Yes.
And I mean, for me, I feel like my daughter turning 2 was like such a big deal. Like she's so independent when they can really
Mhm.
communicate with you. Like I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, you're just going to get to a spot that's so good.
Yes.
And not saying you're not in a good spot now, but like when my daughter turned 2 and like, they're obviously like she can tell me like what she wants to eat, or at
Mhm.
least say, I can give her options and she'll be like yes or no. Um, you know, I'm like, get in your high chair. And, she runs to her high chair. Like now it's like they are somewhat independent.
Yes.
You can breathe. Um,
Yes.
and so I feel like, the time's coming when you're going to be in this great spot, all of them getting along, playing, and it's just going to be like so worth it.
So worth it. And, it's already amazing, like, watching the twins with their sister. They don't quite understand how gentle you need to be around her,
Yeah.
but they are so excited to see her in the morning, like, they just, like, rush to go and find where she is. It's the sweetest thing.
Oh,
She'll be in her bouncer, and they are pulling too hard on the bouncer, trying to, like, slingshot her out of it, but they're always just trying to be around her and including her, or they'll be like, she's crying," or "She's drinking milkies." It's just so funny how they perceive different things that are happening, but you're so right. Our twins are definitely communicating more, but you can just see them on the brink of, "Okay, this is about to get really amazing," because they're so close to being able to communicate at that next level, but
yeah.
we're not quite there yet, but they're still under 2, so, I mean, you can't expect big things.
Oh, yeah. Like I would say, even from 2 to now, like, in my daughter, so she's 28 months. So, I mean, the things that she's doing with like playing and coloring and matching different things, like, you're like, wow, like, there's a huge
Whoa.
leap that happens.
Yeah.
Um, And yeah, it's just incredible. Like I used to take her in the fall. We have this little like nature place near
Cute,
our house that's indoor, and
cute.
it has just like you can match the animal to like the paw print. I don't know, like all these little nature things.
Yeah,
And I'm like, w we would try to do some of those stuff, but she didn't really comprehend it, and I'm like, now she's gonna be, like, so, like, advanced and be able
so
to just
fun.
do those things, and I'm like, I think about, like, the leap, though, from, like, it was only, like, not even 6 months ago that I was taking her there, and now she's gonna when I take her back, it's gonna be, like, so different, like, I have a different child with me.
But 6 months, I don't know if you looked back at photos too, but, like, 6
Ugh,
months feels like a lifetime. Like, I look at my kids from 6 months ago, and they look like babies, and now they look like little humans, and I'm sure in another 6 months, I'm gonna feel the exact same way,
yep,
but it's wild. Parenthood is a wild ride.
it really is. It really is. It's, like, beautiful, it's chaotic, it's hard, it's fun all in one
Yeah,
thing. It's wild. Um,
totally.
so with your husband being home now, like, when did that shift happen and when did you shift into your role now? Because, I mean, COO seems like it's a pretty those are big shoes to fill. So
Mhm.
how is that having 3 under 2, having that responsibility, and then, like, with your husband being home, like, how did that shift all occur?
Yeah, well, I got an incredible job opportunity when I moved home and through friends, which was even better. They are, first of all, the most understanding bosses I've ever met. We're all 30 to 32. We all have 1 to 3 kids, and we're all just in the trenches together. So when someone has had a poor sleep or someone's kids are sick or anything happens that a young parent is going through, they are the most understanding people in the world. And their motto is work when it works. So if that's 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. or 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. or whatever that looks like for you, do it. So
Love that.
they've been incredible, so supportive, and have really helped me integrate back into work. And I think that's what's contributed to not having such bad postpartum anxiety or depression this time around. I think just being able to get back into something that I loved and I love to work. I also love my kids, but it really gives me purpose to wake up
Mhm.
each day and do things and make money and be successful. And the world that we're living in now, that's such a digital age, I get to have lunch with my kids, or I get to go make a coffee and hug my kids. I get to play with them for 10 minutes and then come back to work. So, whereas before we would have been commuting to some office or somewhere,
Mhm.
now that's very different. So, in ways harder, but in ways easier to make the transition back to work as a new mom or a mom of 3 under 2 kids a lot easier. So, I have big shoes to fill, but they're all such incredible people to work alongside that they make it really easy.
Yeah. No, I love that, and that's so true that you can just it's so different than, like, having to commute, drop your kids off somewhere, whether it's at a family or at a daycare and not see them for hours.
Yeah.
And just to be in the comfort of your home while doing something that you love and then being able to see them. You mentioned that this postpartum was a little easier. Um, do you think that is, like you said, because you have this other purpose now with like
Mhm.
how much you love work? Do you think it's because you experienced motherhood already, so it made it easier? Because, I don't have two yet. But I wondered, I'm like, it has to almost not that it's easier, but we know what we're doing now. So do you
Yes.
think that like that helped contribute to that?
1000%. I think the experience with the twins versus my newborn now was night and day. Like, we were in the NICU. I would try and breastfeed them, and then they would take all of their clothes off and put them on a scale to see how much breast milk they got from me. So
Oh
there
yeah.
was that. I was told to take like 15,000 supplements to increase my milk supply. I was pumping. I was so stressed. I was like, one of my babies stopped breathing for a few seconds, and everyone's like, alarms are going off. Everyone's like rushing into the room that we're in. And it was a very nerve-wracking time, especially as a first mom or a second-time mom. It doesn't matter. The NICU is an incredible place because I feel like you learn a lot while you're there. But gosh, like, does my heart go out to people that are in the NICU because it's not an easy time. But then this time around, I was, I think, in the hospital for less than 28 hours. Like, it was like a day and a half. My C-section was done. I was like hobbling along the hallways trying to make my way out of the hospital, but I had a lot more confidence in myself. I knew what to do this time around, and not that I knew how to exclusively breastfeed. And I think that was where my concern came in again, was I just really wanted to experience breastfeeding her exclusively with no pumps, with no ounces. Like when I was exclusively pumping with the twins, I remember like analyzing that bottle, and day over day or morning to night, I would just beat myself up like, you didn't drink enough, you didn't eat enough, you didn't XYZ. What happened yesterday where you got so much milk that didn't happen today? And
Yeah.
so letting go of that and just being present and watching her cues and being like, she's going to tell me if she's hungry. She's going to tell me if she's unhappy. And just like really trusting your gut has felt a million times better, in ways also difficult because I'm working full time and on calls and trying to like breastfeed her, or I'll shut my camera off. But again, my work is so understanding. So they know that I have a newborn at home. I'm not trying to hide a little baby, but
Yeah.
they're super supportive and just grateful that I can be a mom and also be working. So I think you hit the nail on the head. There's a few things that are very different from my first version of being postpartum to this version.
Yeah.
And I think experience plays a lot in that, but also just having something to put my extra time into and not overthink things.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. I can see how all of that would play into just having a better experience this time around. And when you were talking about the breastfeeding the last time and the pumping, I worked so hard to feed my daughter, and you're, like, almost bringing up, like, so much that I, like, forgot about. Remember how we talked about, like, you
Yes.
almost forget when you're not pregnant what you experience when you're pregnant, and, like, that just made me think, like, because I plan on, breastfeeding again,
Yeah.
um, but I'm like, "I'm not gonna kill myself over it,"
No.
because I honestly look back and I'm like, "What was the hardest part of my journey with my daughter?" Bringing her home. It was breastfeeding and
Mhm.
pumping.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "I don't wanna do that again." Like, I
No.
remember looking at the ounces, being like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is not enough,"
Yeah.
and I fought giving her formula, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Why am I gonna do this?" Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. And so then, like, because I started producing less around 9 months,
Mhm.
didn't know why, I was like, "But this is what it happening, and she needs to eat." So,
Mhm.
we started supplementing, and I'm like, "She's downing it." Like,
Yeah.
obviously my milk is probably has more nutrients. I don't know.
Totally.
I wanted her
Yeah.
to have my own milk, but
Yeah.
I'm like, when is it just ego versus just feeding my baby? You know? Um, and so yeah, the next time around, like you're doing, like, I'm like, I'm not gonna live on the pump. I'm like, I don't even know how I would do it with
No.
having my daughter. My daughter would be like, "What are you doing?"
No.
Um, but
It's so hard.
I did get advice from the midwife at my doctor's office, and cuz she just had a baby, and she was like, I'm breastfeeding, but obviously I'm here at the office, so I do need a pump. And she was like, get a what are they? Not the ones that don't have the wires connected,
The
like the
wearable.
inserts.
Yes.
Yes, and she's like, they're not as strong. She's like, but I just insert them in, forget they're there, and there's the milk. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like genius." Like,
Yeah.
because I have the pump with the long strings,
Yes.
and I'm like, I
Yes.
don't wanna be carrying that around. I'm gonna have a newborn, I'm gonna have, my
No.
daughter.
No.
And so, yeah, I mean, breastfeeding
Make
is
it
a whole
easy.
nother
A
added
whole other journey. But you know what?
yes.
The Haka this time around has really come in handy. Like just putting it on
Really?
the opposite boob,
Yeah.
and you just get the letdown from you collect all that milk while you're feeding. It's like, why not?
Maybe this time around will be
Genius.
different, because I put the Haka on and I would get, like, barely anything, but I'd be
I
like,
know.
"Wow, babe, look."
I
But,
know.
like, then there's women that they're, like, filling the Haka up, and I'm like, "Well, I wasn't filling it up." But
Yeah. Also, what you see on social media is not what everybody is getting,
no,
right? And so that's also hard. You're comparing yourself, like,
for
why is
sure.
this mom getting 10 liters a day? But I was so, consumed about I have to feed the freezer. And it's like, you don't have to feed the freezer, just feed the baby. Like
Yeah.
that's your main goal.
That was
Um,
actually another thing. Yeah, we had a trip planned for a wedding, and I knew my mom was gonna be watching my daughter, and I'm like, "I have to have, like, 80 bottles frozen," and I did. I had a ton, but that puts so much more pressure on me. So,
So
like,
much
this time
pressure.
around, I'm like, "I'm not planning any trips. If they
Yeah.
happen, but I'm not." I'm just like, I'm gonna live in my postpartum era and just let it be and
Yeah.
relax
Mhm.
because we already have enough going on as moms, you know?
Totally. There's already enough
Um,
stress.
yeah. So like if something just can't be because we have a baby, that's what it is for a little while
Mhm.
because after they're a year old, it changes so much. You have so much more
So much.
freedom. Just it's so different. So I'm like,
S
just enjoy it.
Totally. As much
But do
as you
you feel
can.
that your supply is more this time around?
I do. I felt that at the very beginning. I was filling up. Oh, I actually have it here, surprisingly. But like, I would just like fill up to this every time, every pump. It'd be like, how
Wow.
many? 5 ounces. It'd be like 10 ounces a pump. I'd be like, what is happening? So I think what they say is that your body is just like used to producing milk. And
Yep.
I think, don't quote me on this, but I think you have more milk ducts the next time you get pregnant. And I think it just keeps
Interesting.
going as you have pregnancies. So this time I pumped and I was like, oh, I know I have lots of milk. Like she's definitely getting what she needs.
Yeah.
And I have high lipase milk too, so I can't really freeze my milk because it tastes weird. Apparently, it's like metallic-y. So, that's been really difficult with her too, is that she doesn't like the taste, which totally agree with, girl. But I haven't been able to build up a freezer stash, but I did at the beginning, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What the heck do I do with this milk?" So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna donate it because there's so many moms like myself. I was in a similar situation, and you just needed milk for your babies, and so hopefully I can donate it to a baby that likes high lipase milk, and on we go.
Yeah. Or have you
Yeah.
ever heard that you can use it to like if I don't know if your daughter has eczema or like
Mm, in the
if they
bath.
ever have any like skin, yeah, you put the milk in the bath and supposedly it's
Totally.
like really good for their skin.
Or in the US now, you guys can, like, freeze dry it. Have you heard of that?
I have not done that because I didn't have enough, but I have heard of other moms doing that. Like I've seen like reels of moms like, oh, I went
Yeah.
to get my stash freeze dried. I'm like, very interesting.
Could you
But mine
imagine?
tasted metallic-y.
Mm,
And it was at the end of my like, when I was starting to produce less, and
yeah.
she was, like, not wanting the bottles, and I'm like,
Mm,
"What's going on, girl?" And
mm.
I would so I would, like not that I was drinking it, but I would taste it, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's off. That
Yeah,
doesn't
I'm like,
taste."
I don't like that
And
either.
so yeah, and so I was like, "That's weird," but that's probably what was happening to mine, is exactly
Totally.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, as far as your C-section, so obviously, you knew that you were gonna have a C-section with the twins, right? Because a lot of times
Yes.
they do a C-section.
Yeah, they told me it was a 50% chance that one would be delivered an emergency C-section. So they were like, "You can either try vaginally, or you can just go for the C-section." I was like, I think I'm just going to go for one C-section instead of try to like recover from a vaginal delivery and a C-section delivery. It
Yeah.
just made me feel a little bit safer. So that's the route I went with. But then with this pregnancy, I had placenta previa. So your placenta is over your cervix,
Okay.
it embeds over your cervix. And so I couldn't do a VBAC, unfortunately. So I had another C-section, but this recovery was so much harder. And I actually have something that 2% of women have post C-section, which is called an incisional hernia. So my abdominal wall has split open and now my intestines are coming through the abdominal wall. And so now in 2 months, I have to go back for surgery for them to close up the hernia that happened due to the C-section. So,
Oh my gosh. So was there anything like, did that just happen by chance, or was that, like, the incision split open? Did
no,
they say?
I think I had a very weak abdominal wall from you had a C-sec or you had a twin pregnancy, your belly's already so big,
Yep.
and then, you know, at 11 months postpartum, I get pregnant again, and then my belly as it's starting to heal, everything's going to
Starting to
expand again.
expand.
So I think a weak abdominal wall plus the C-section, and there's like a lot of scar tissue. I'm not exactly sure why it happened or why it happened to me, but living with like another like belly pregnancy, essentially, it's 8 centimeters. It's massive. And I have to wear like compression. I'm going to get a fitting this week for a custom compression garment. But I met with my surgeon a couple weeks ago and he was like, yeah, we're going to have to wait till 12 months postpartum to get you in for surgery, and I was devastated. I was like, "I cannot deal with this for 12 months. Like, I can't pick up my kids properly. I can't breastfeed properly. Like, nothing's comfortable." When you think of yourself healing and getting your pink back, well, now none of my clothes still don't fit. So it's equally as challenging. And I was trying to think of myself in a bathing suit with a hernia. I'm like, hell no. Like, that is just not happening this summer then. But he actually consulted his US colleagues, and they're now doing surgeries for moms at 6 months. And I only realized I had a hernia because I found an article because I was like, "What's wrong with my stomach? I've healed from a C-section before. Something's not right here. Like, it's very different." And I read an article, and this mom's stomach, like, she posted a side by side, and it could not have been more like my situation. And I went in for my 6-week post-op, um, appointment, and I looked at my OB and I was like, "Do I have a hernia? Like, what is going on in my stomach?" Like, he's like, "Oh, I don't know, like, we'll check you out." He does a full abdominal exam and he said, "Oh, no, it's just you've got really bad diastasis recti, so, like, when your abs just split apart."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You just have to go to physio." So I was relieved. I was like, "Oh, thank God I don't have a hernia. This is the best news ever." That article, like, really freaked me out. Then I went to physio and she's like, "I've never seen a stomach like yours before, so you 1000% need a second opinion." Then I went to, a very highly accredited hospital in Toronto that just specializes in hernias because they had a next day appointment. And again, the guy was like, "You don't even need to lay down on the table. You have a visible hernia." And then he started feeling around and he was like, "This is 8 centimeters and it's too complex. So you can't do the we can't operate on you here. You have to go see a specialist." And then it's just been such a roller coaster of I don't even have a family doctor here in Ontario, so I had to go see a nurse practitioner. But all in all, it's worked out amazingly because I have one of the top surgeons in Canada. There's only two that do robotic surgery, and he's one of two. The other guy's in Vancouver, which is where I used to live. But it feels like I'm in good hands now. I'm like, okay, the surgery's at 6 months, not at 12. I finally have some answers. And hopefully, after that surgery, I can actually recover.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So what
It's
is
been
this
a
called?
whirl.
What is it called exactly?
It's either called a ventral or an incisional hernia. So, you know how some people get umbilicus hernias? They're kind of like above the belly button. They look like a little lump kind of on the
Yeah.
outside of their abdomen, the stomach. Anyway, that's happened to me, but on the lower part of my abdomen. So right above my C-section scar, it's probably like this big. And it's
Oh
just
my
all of my
gosh.
intestines coming out of the abdominal wall and being held on by the stomach, like your actual abdomen, the
Wow.
skin. Yeah,
So
so
has that been painful or like was it just like the look of how you were healing that really was like a red flag to you and like obviously what allowed them to notice that you had one?
the look, and it's uncomfortable because it's like a big lump, right? So you're like, "This isn't normal, like, why is my stomach feeling like this?" And when I was recovering from the C-section, it was all bruised, like, the whole lower part of my stomach was just, like, a massive bruise and rock hard. I'm like, this
I
wasn't."
remember it feeling hard. It's
Yeah?
so weird like you're making like you
I'm
talking about
bringing
your
all of
experience
your
is making
feelings
me
back.
I remember feeling like over my pelvic bone and being like, "Oh my gosh, that feels
Oh.
so bruised."
Oh, yeah.
Um Thankfully I healed really well cuz I did have a C-section as well.
Yeah.
And I was just at my doctor and he's like, "Oh my god." Like he's like, "I almost can't even see your line."
Whoa.
Which is wild.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I did I put, like, oil on it,
Yeah.
after, but I was a weirdo with my C-section and, I don't know if all doctors do them the same. I didn't have any, like, visible stitches on the outside. I think I was
Mhm.
stitched in the inside, and then they put, like, a glue over
Mm.
over the outside for me.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
had, like, glue and then, like, obviously there was some blood from it,
yeah, yeah.
healing. And then I, like, kept putting a bandage across it, like, not a sticky bandage, but, like, something and then something sticky over that.
Mhm.
And when I started to shower, I wouldn't even, like, wash my incision. I, like, let the water just, like, drip over
No.
it, and
I was
at
like,
my
"I'm
6th
not
week
touching that."
and at my 6th week checkup, my doctor's like, "You still have glue." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want it." I'm like, "I'm not picking at it. I'm terrified." I'm like, "You guys were like, hey, you don't wanna rip open, you don't want anything." I'm like, "So
No.
I will not pick at it." I just, like,
No.
gently, then I started using, like, a wash rag where I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, if it comes off with the wash rag, it comes off." But he was
Yeah.
like, "You can take it off." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, so then he was, like, picking it off. It was so funny at my
Yeah.
checkup.
You're like, "Uh-uh."
Um
I totally feel you there, that grosses me right out. I was just
Oh,
like,
I wouldn't
"Yep.
even look at my incision for, like,
No.
a week. My
No.
sister-in-law, when she came to the hospital to meet our daughter, I was, like, going to the bathroom, and I'm like, "Is it bad?" And I just wouldn't look at it. I'm like, "I
No.
can't look at it." But
'Cause it doesn't exist. You're like,
yep.
if I can't see it, I don't know what it looks like, and I'm just gonna move on with my life."
Yeah, they were just like were really serious about me not walking up the stairs, more than once a day because 'cause I'm like, "Well,
Mhm.
our bedroom is upstairs."
Mhm.
Um, they were just, like, really serious, and so I took them very serious with it, and I was like, "I don't want anything to happen. I do not wanna go back to that hospital." But with what you're experiencing, are you nervous to go into surgery? Are you just, like, excited to get it past you? Like, what
Yeah.
are the feels around that?
Just excited to get it past me, honestly, just to try and now recover and actually feel like myself. Because you think, "Oh, I've had a baby, I'm gonna heal, I'm gonna recover.
Yeah.
After the C-section, I'm gonna start to get my pink back and feel better." But I haven't been able to buy any clothes for myself. I'm literally just wearing, like, baggy sweaters and baggy pants, like, you don't wanna wear leggings, you don't wanna wear anything to accentuate this massive hernia. So I'm just looking forward to hopefully healing once and for all. And my surgeon was like, if you decide to have another child, which you
Yep.
can with
I was
this
gonna ask
surgery.
that.
Yeah, which was so weird because with the article I read, she said she couldn't have any more kids. So I kind of like grieved the loss of, okay, 3, we're done. And I'm very happy with 3. 3 kids is incredible. It's amazing. I just always wanted 4. I don't know why. I just always thought 4 was going to be my number. So I grieved that, and then I spoke with him, and he's like, "Actually, now we have, an absorbable mesh. So what happens is we insert it, and then your body will take, like, the natural scar tissue and start to, like, heal over it, and then it starts to slowly dissolve." So he's like, "You can get pregnant again." I was like, "Oh, like, how long after would you say? Like, year, 2 year? Like, how long does your body fully need to recover?" He's like, "Oh, like 4 months."
Wow.
I was like, "Oh, I don't think that'll be the case for me, but thank
Yeah.
you." Um, but, it was just nice to hear, "Okay, you can use the absorbable mesh. There's a 10% chance that your hernia comes back." But another thing he said was, "I could actually work with your OB next time if because you'd have another C-section." And he's like, "I could actually close you up to make sure to make sure everything's proper." He's like, "I just have tips and tricks from doing abdominal wall reconstruction and hernia surgery." So he's like, "I could request that I'm in the operating room and stitching you back up after
That's
your."
amazing.
I know. I was like,
I'd be like, "Yes."
You're hired, you're in."
You're
I'm like,
hired.
I don't know if this is happening again, but if it is, you're in." So, no,
Yeah.
that was really refreshing, and I was like, "Okay, you're kind of going through this thinking it's gonna be your last." Like, I'm like, "Oh, this is my last baby, this is my last breastfeeding experience," and now it's like, "Oh my god, maybe it's not." So, I feel like I've just been on this, like, roller coaster of emotions.
No, I'm there with you. Well, even and you're 30. You're so
Yeah,
young. I'm 35
yeah,
having my second. I'll be
yeah,
36 actually when I deliver.
that's amazing.
So, you got plenty of time to
Totally. So
have
much time.
another. And then I feel like there's so many women more than ever that you see being like 40 having kids even. Not that I
Yes.
wanna be 40. I'm like, I don't know that I wanna be 40 chasing after a baby and a
It's a
one-year-old,
lot.
but I get the whole grieving because I've always wanted 3. 3 was always my
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
Um, but, we may stop after 2. I don't know. I feel like I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know until I bring that baby home.
Totally.
Um, but yeah, I get like if you have 4 in your mind, I've always had 3 in my mind.
Mhm.
And I always tell everyone, you said you didn't know why you wanted 4. And for 3, I have 2 brothers. They're
Okay.
younger than me, but I always say, I tell my husband, I go, we need 3. I'm like, because when I call my brother, John, and he doesn't answer, I'll call Joe and Joe answers. Or if I
Aw.
call Joe and he doesn't answer, then John's going to answer. So like, I'm like, I always have a brother,
Aw.
like one of them always answers the phone. I'm like, it is rare that I'll
I
call
love
both of them
that.
and they both won't answer. I'm like, when Sailor's older and she's calling her brothers or sisters, like one might not answer. So then she needs to call the other.
That's
And
so
like, that's
cute
my
that you're
reason. I'm
thinking
like,
that.
it's wild, but I'm like, and I don't like I said, with my preeclampsia experience, like, I thought by having, I was like, "Do we just have 1?" Like, I don't know, and now
Mhm.
being pregnant again, I'm like, "Okay, if this all goes well, maybe I could do it again." You
Yeah,
know?
it's hard. It's hard, but you kind of, like, forget it when you're out of it. You're like, "Oh,
Yep.
right. Well, what was that like?" And it's crazy, I just experienced it. Like, I was just pregnant 4
Yeah.
months ago, and all
I
of a
mean,
sudden,
4
I'm like,
months is still you're so new into your postpartum.
so new, and I'm already forgetting what it was like to be pregnant. But I will say recovering the second time around with a toddler at home is insane because they want you to pick them up. They want you to be
Yeah.
there for them. They want you to cuddle them. I think your daughter's gonna be a bit older, so she'll probably understand, like, "Oh, take mommy's hand or sit on my lap or come sit on the couch with me." But with my twins, they were still so young that they just wanted me to pick them up and hold them, and it was really difficult. Like, I was just and then you're holding baby and you're trying to recover from your C-section, so that was a lot, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's been a ride.
I know, I was thinking that through too, and she'll almost be 3, which is wild.
Wow.
Thankfully, my husband gets, what is it? The paternity leave.
Okay, nice.
So I'm like thankful for that because he gets some time so that way he can help with Sailor, our daughter, a lot in that beginning stage. Cause yeah, I mean, I feel like hopefully the C-section recovery goes well because I'll be having another one as well.
Mhm.
By choice. I just am like, I know what I know. Um,
100%.
and then, my doctor was like, same, like, well, there's a chance that we could induce you and you don't progress again because I didn't progress the first time. And he's like, and then it's C-section. He's
Yeah.
like, or we can wait to see if you go into labor, but then that's never a sure, you never know either.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I rather just go
And have it scheduled,
have
I
it
think is a lot
scheduled.
more peaceful for us. I, like, had my bags packed, and with the twins, it was emergency, so we just ran to the hospital, and I had nothing packed, and then my husband was running out, and, like, "They're gonna operate on me, you gotta get back here." He's like, "I gotta deal
Yeah.
with the dog." Like, it was so much more chaotic, whereas this time around, it was like, we went to the hospital at 5 a.m., and you sit in the room, and they take you over here, like, it was very, you know, it was great. It was
I've heard
awesome.
it's more just relax. Like you're
Yeah,
still a major surgery,
for sure.
but you're just more at like peace.
And you know what's going on
Um,
this time.
yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Um, but so for I guess any mom going through the trenches, and I know you're not completely out of them yet yourself,
Mhm.
but what advice would you give to that mom or even to the twin moms, like to that? Because
Oh
there's a lot of
gosh.
moms that might be experiencing pregnancy for the first time with 2, gonna bring
Mhm.
them home. They're worried. Like, what would your advice be?
I feel like it's so cliche, but ask for help. I'm the worst at asking for help. Like, I just wanna be the superhero in every situation. And, my mother-in-law will, like, come down and be like, can I she'll ask, which is so sweet because then I don't have to ask, but she'll be like, "Can I feed the kids or can I take them upstairs?" And I always take her up on it. I'm like, "Yes, please." But it's really hard, but, like, you need to ask for help when you need it because you also matter. It's like, I don't know who I was talking to, but it's like, you need to put your oxygen mask on before you put on your kids' oxygen masks. Like, you have to put yourself first. You have to go get your hair done. Like, my fiance is also, I would say he's in the trenches because he's the one dealing with 3 kids all day. But he's the one that's like, you need to go get your hair done. Like, go and I will figure it out. If I have 3 kids for 5 hours on my own, like, I'm their father, I will figure it out. You need to feel like yourself again. So I think asking for help and just like prioritizing what you need. Do you need to get your hair done? Do you need to get your eyebrows done? And I got my eyebrows done the other day and I brought my daughter and I was like, can I just like leave her car seat on the floor? Like, I'm sure she'll just hang out. But I think it's like not being scared of like what could happen. I feel like so many people want to help you and so many people will be accommodating, and you just need to prioritize your own self-care because that's how you're going to be the best mom, best version of yourself that you can possibly be. So cliche, but ask for help and prioritize yourself.
I love that because I did not ask for help because I didn't wanna, like, burden anybody.
I
I'm
know.
like
Or feel
I'm like,
like
"I
you
got
don't have it all
this."
together.
Yeah, yeah. Even now when we travel, like, when we travel somewhere on vacation and we go with like my in-laws, like I won't ask for help because I'm like, well, I just don't want to bother them,
Yeah.
or even if they do watch Sailor, I have her bathed already and I'm like her like little sound machine's on, everything's prepared. You just have to
Mm,
lay her in the crib. And I'm like, why do I do this? Because then
I know.
I stress myself out.
Mhm.
And I don't allow myself to relax. And that's so important is to prioritize yourself, your mental health, your physical health. Um,
Totally. I also think it makes people feel really good when you ask them for help. It's like you trust them. You trust these people with your kids.
yeah,
And, your kids also need to experience these people in their lives. Like, other people putting them to sleep. It's sad. It's like, "Oh, no, but I wanna put my babies to sleep." But it just creates this bond with these other people, so if you can't be there when they need you at a specific time, they have such strong relationships with people that can step in if you're not
yeah,
there for whatever reason, right? So it's like their dad, their mom, their aunts, their uncles, their grandparents, like, these are the pivotal people in their lives, and I think it makes those people just feel so good that you trust them. And my sister-in-law was watching our kids the other day and she's like, "Yeah, well," our twin boy starts crying and she's like, "I don't know, because the girl's now sleeping, but she wasn't sleeping, so what should I do with him?" And I was like, "Oh, you make the call, like, do you wanna go in and grab him or do you wanna let." And she's like, "Well, I don't wanna mess anything up. I don't know, everyone's different." And I'm like, it's on your watch. You do what you want. But it's like, I think it empowers them to then make decisions when they're watching your kids. And I trust them with my heart. It's like,
yeah,
they're not going to intentionally mess something up. And, it's just, if we didn't get it right this time, we'll fix it for next time.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I know. My husband and I we are particular with our daughter. And then that
For
makes
sure.
people around us think that they need to be that way. And we're like, no, like we would love, like, take her, like, go take her
Mm,
for a walk, to go play with her, like, and do what you would do. Like, you
yeah,
were a mom, you know, um,
totally.
just do what you want to do. Like, we understand we're particular, but like, that's just how we are with her. Like, we don't
Yeah.
expect that from anybody
No.
else to be that way with her. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with that advice and actually really follow through with that because I
Hmm.
feel like we always say it, but then we don't do it.
I know.
And that's something like this time around, I will be taking that advice.
Please do. You need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been so great having you on the podcast.
Thank you for
4
having me,
months
Nicole.
postpartum,
I
working,
know.
like, oh my gosh, like you did not need to do this. And I'm just so happy that we met and that you came
Me
on. And
too.
yeah,
Thank you for your time today. I'm sure we could continue talking for another
oh, I
2
know.
hours, but we'll save
Seriously.
the people. We'll save
Yeah.
it for another time.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Nicole. Have a great day.
You too.